Oh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 877 of FloWrestling Radio Live. I'm your host, Pyles, on this Monday. Joined today by James Dean Rader, Ben Funky Askren. We're all over the country. JD's in, I think, Nebraska. I'm in definitely Tennessee. Ben, we all know where he is. The basement of the HQ of Haunchyville RTC. What's going on, guys?
JD's eyebrows and mustache are looking more exquisite today than usual.
The lighting is helpful.
It's really popping for me today.
It's popping big time. He's got 2023 is going to be JD's year, according to his.
That's right. I already got a new glow about me.
That's awesome.
JD, are you really in Nebraska?
I am.
What are you doing?
I'm with family.
Oh, I thought you were from Iowa.
I got family all over.
Yeah, he's got peoples everywhere.
Okay, cool. Well, I watched a lot of wrestling, so I'm excited to talk about it. We not only had college stuff, but obviously I'm interested in Wisconsin high school wrestling. So we had a bunch of holiday tournaments and everything else.
What's in the top of your mind as you look at the things you want to?
Well, no one wants to talk about Wisconsin high school wrestling, so
that is true.
Midlands, obviously. We got the Cheesehead this weekend, though. That's a big one. That's probably that is the toughest Wisconsin tournament. All the ones last week are kind of like, second, third, fourth, fifth, like, that area.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. So what actually is on top of your mind?
Midlands. Let's go. I'm ready.
Midlands. All right. So Midlands concluded. Northwestern won. Congrats to Coach Storniolo and companies. They brought home a title. The most significant final for me was, well, there's a lot to unpack with Midlands, but Quincy Monday going up and beating DJ Hamady was telling. And to me, I don't know if it's confirmed. JD wrote it in here that
it is confirmed. He will be staying at 165.
Who confirmed
it?
Okay,
so this is permanent.
They won the coaching staff.
Guapo?
Okay.
Who?
The coaching staff.
Okay. So he stayed.
I just said to JD.
I don't know about Patrick Lord yet.
I said to JD before the show is, why would he have even bothered making 57 then? Because he did it multiple times this year. It kind of seems strange. Like, it's kind of a long way away. If you're a 65 pounder, 57 is probably not easy. And he made the commitment to do that. And then now he's going back up. So maybe the weight cut sucked. I don't know. It's probably the best guess.
Yeah, I guess it's something like that. Maybe felt like, hey, I can go up, I can win. No one likes cutting weight also. Yes. So he's staying up at 165, which, we've kind of already talked about our own personal prognostications for Quincy up at that weight. But did anything change in your mind after Midlands then?
No. That looked about what I thought it was going to look like. We talked about that exact scenario with, Peyton Hall lost to Braunagel. The Braunagel Monday match. Yeah, Braunagel Monday match was pretty good and really competitive as well. In the semis after Braunagel beat Hall in the quarters. And so the Monday Hamady match, it kind of played out like I wanted, except or not like I wanted, like I had predicted. Except Hamady had that cradle, and I don't know what he was doing. They don't work on cradle finishes, I guess, because he had him flat on his belly. I think he should have turned that thing over relatively easily, and instead just bailed and let it go. And that could have been the match difference maker.
Is there anything tricky you do there to get somebody over?
So when they're flat on their belly like that, it should be relatively easy. I mean, you cinch it up a little bit. You either walk straight into them or walk around the head. If they build up, then you can go backwards also. But once they're flat, I don't want to say it's kind of easy, but it's kind of easy.
Yeah, I kind of thought that was one thing I was surprised by, that he wasn't able to convert more points from there. It was sort of a strange match in that there were a lot of positions where I felt like Quincy was getting in, that they just had these long, slow, sort of static exchanges where like he'd be on a leg and slowly kind of progressing, but like it wasn't a lot of like movement and action. It was sort of strange how it was going.
Well, I think when and this is funny because another guy I'm sure we're going to talk about, Saldano. Hamady is very particular, and I think he surprised some people with some of the skills he had last year, and now everyone's obviously watched tape because he's so good, which is what happens with good people. And so people are a little more used to some of the things that he's going to attempt. And that I think that's kind of what leads to that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
Soldado. He took fifth or sixth place, but he's a lot of fun to watch. And I want to say I correctly predicted that his things would not be successful forever, because that one gimmick he does that he got put on his back like 3 times against Evan Bates it's a total jiu-jitsu sweep. Christian, you watch jiu-jitsu, you know this. It is over, under, butterfly guard, dump them to their back, And what's funny is in wrestling, it works. Lots of times it works really well, because in wrestling, a lot of times you keep your hip high and you float over positions, right? In jiu-jitsu, you sink and you try to crunch someone, right? So in jiu-jitsu, that move doesn't work it works. It's not nearly as frequently as Soldano is using it.
Yeah, it was crazy that you're just watching it. It's like this is the closest thing we've seen to Dylan Ness in terms of just like sitting to your back and trying to make something happen. He does it differently because he kind of uses like an over under, but it's equally reckless, I'd say.
He might be more reckless, it sure is fun to watch. I don't know if it's going to be good for his record, but it's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, the guy just goes to his back and just like bides his time and takes you over.
Yes.
He's gonna ice a lot of people. There's gonna be an evolution where guys are gonna get a little more wise to it. And then
yes,
I'm curious, is he gonna have an evolution beyond that to the counters that they're gonna throw at him? Or is it just gonna completely go DOA?
It's kind of hard because that position, right? Like it's a jiu-jitsu position. I know it kind of well. Once people are wise to it, there's not a lot of ways out. You know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of like, okay, well, if they stop me, I'm going to do this next, and then this next, and then this next. It's really like you can go one way, and then to the other way, you can kind of pop up to a whizzer, and then sometimes you can go back to it, kind of like a back and forth thing. But there's not like there's not a ton of other places to go. And then in the meantime, you're giving up back points.
Yes. So yeah, Soldano lost. Reese Heller wins for Pitt. Speaking of Pitt, Dayton Pitzer takes out Colton Schultz, handing.
Wow, look at this guy, Dayton Pitzer.
He's something else. Small, heavyweight, powerful,
very small,
good athlete and good wrestler. He fell to Davison in the finals 4-0. Pretty fun scramble. I don't know if you watched it, Ben.
I actually missed that one, but he kind of should have lost in the semis though.
Yeah.
Did you watch Hilger? He defensive pinned him, and there was a scramble
with like 3 seconds left.
Yeah.
Yes, and there was a scramble before the defensive pin, and I actually thought, oh dang, they're going to call him for a defensive pin on this one, and they didn't. And then it was in the next like sequence, and he was like maybe pinned, but maybe not. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I don't know. I think he was pinned.
Yeah. Close call. The ref was in position there. He was right there looking for it because it became evident that's what Dayton was looking for. And so the question in my mind is like, all right, well, what does this mean for Colton Schultz? It's his second upset loss of the season. And to me, it's like it seems like just Colton's just not right now. I don't feel like he's like he does have kind of a really specific style that's different, but I don't think that's why he's losing. He just doesn't look like he's quite wrestling at his best right now. I don't know if there's an injury. I don't know if there's something else going on, but it doesn't look like the Colton we saw last year is getting beat. This looks like someone else to me. So,
well, and then also Christian, if you look at other matches, he wins 5-2 over Boone McDermott, 3-2 over Travis Stefanik, 4-2 over Colton McKiernan from Southern Illinois. And so he's been having additional close matches also. Yeah. And when I turned on the Pitzer Schultz match, I thought, how the hell is Pitzer going to stay on the mat? Schultz has got 50 pounds, 60 pounds on him, maybe.
Yeah.
I figured Schultz would just shove him around so hard he's going to get some stall points, and then Pitzer had to push back and he'd snap down, run behind him. And so it almost seems like, to your point, he's not as aggressive with the pushing, and he's not able to get people off the mat. Or maybe they're just wise to the fact that he only wants to push, and he's not probably going to shoot all that much. I guess the one counterpoint would be he did look really good in the first match of the year against Zach Elam.
He
majored him, and he looked really good in doing so. And besides that loss, Elam I think hasn't lost again, and he's in the semifinals in middle Scuffle and looking relatively good.
Yeah, he's looking good. I think that's sort of my point. Like Colton looked that way against Elam, and then against other guys that I would say are at worst case, they're similar caliber to Elam, Pitzer, Neville's. I would say that Elam's a notch above those guys.
Mm-hmm.
He's looked worse. So I take that to mean something outside factor, and not selling my stock on Colton because there's still a lot of time left for him to get back feeling good. But definitely a surprise.
You're concerned about your stock.
You should be. You should be concerned. But if you're selling, I'll take some.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Colton Scholl. I mean, Pitzer. I guess the question I have is, where did he come from? Like, did you guys? He's a true freshman. Did you guys have him? I don't even recall him being in the rankings in high school.
Yeah.
So if you're from Pennsylvania, you knew about him for sure. But I don't think he did a whole lot of national tournaments. But he was a 3-time PA state champ. Would have been 4-timer, but he was hurt 1 year. So if you were in tune to Pennsylvania high school wrestling, you knew about him and knew he could be very good. But if you only followed the national scene, he might have flown under the radar a bit.
Huh.
Yeah, because I don't recall him at like I'm certain he was ranked in like a known commodity, but he wasn't someone I think we saw like at Super 32 or Fargo or
I don't remember seeing him anywhere.
I think he's a football player. It looks like probably a multi-sport athlete. So that can, for those bigger guys, can jam him up. But he's obviously the real deal. Still technically in red shirt, I think. It seems certain there
was a report, a guy who does stuff, I forget for what paper that follows Pit Wrestling, and he tweeted out last night that Coach Gavin confirmed they plan to use him in the postseason.
Awesome. Yeah. That's great. He's he looks, pretty obviously ready to place this year. Certainly will be in the mix. Tough out.
Their other heavyweights not bad either, but obviously Pitzer's a huge upgrade on it.
Yeah, heavyweights going to be fun this year in Tulsa. It's a pretty deep field.
It
heavyweight,
is. Yeah, it'll be a fun one. Okay. Other Midlands storylines.
What's Arizona State's schedule? Could Schultz kind of redeem himself?
They got Cornell. Like
Fernandez.
It's in Austin, right? Isn't it in a couple days?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there you go.
Be there. I don't see him hitting another super tough match for a while.
No Nino at Midlands. Is he injured or just wanted a little time off, or we don't know?
Beats me. I mean, Nino is one of many, many wrestlers that did not wrestle that were thought to be wrestling this weekend. Basically no Iowa State starters apart from Adasayev and Kreiser.
They're kind of busy.
And Adasayev lost.
I don't hate that.
Dude, did you watch that match, JD?
Which one? Adasayev versus who?
Braden Palmer from Chattanooga. Like Adasayev was just like seemingly like just dominating the hand fight, getting to legs. And
Palmer's kind of tricky though.
He was very tricky. He out scrambled him twice to win the match. It was really impressive scrambling. It was one of those like I feel like Adasayev like it shouldn't have been that close for him. He should have been able to convert, but the guy had great counters and wasn't able to finish. But my point being, Iowa State basically the car didn't come. Swiderski, Pinheiro, Coleman, Bastida, etc. And then Missouri for the Scuffle, no Keegan, no Rocky, no Mahler. So the 165.
Hey, Mizzou's still in first over Oklahoma State, and we didn't have those three guys. I think that's pretty impressive. Good job, Mizzou.
Impressive indeed. And for the 165 bracket, sort of playing out the way it did in terms of entries at Scuffle is sort of a microcosm of the overall theme for this sort of week, which was lots of anticipation, and then when push comes to shove, you don't get the matches or the athletes there that you were hoping for, and it leaves wrestling fans disappointed, and it leaves them asking questions. And you talk to the coaches, they're like, Listen, it's a new day. He's like, I don't like it. They're like, you talk to a coach, they're like, yeah, I don't like it, but it's just how it is now. The athletes know, and
The
the
athletes
more
know, they know what
the more
specifically.
they know it, they know that they don't have to do it, and that's to me that is what is the change. It's the athletes are saying, hey, not feeling great. Hey, would rather not, and they understand they don't need 25 matches to be ready for the postseason. And so to me, I think that's where it's starting. It's starting with the athletes, if you ask me.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know in Keegan's case, it was opposite. It was when he left to go back home, he was anticipating wrestling, and then, he had a small thing he was dealing with, and the coaches didn't want him to wrestle. I don't know about Rocky Elam or Mahler. Not sure on those cases, but I know obviously I was with Keegan last week, and that was the case.
Yeah, yeah. So I just think there's just less and less examples of like if you're not feeling 100%, they're not going to drop you in a tournament anymore. And so right or wrong, it's wrestling needs to change how they're doing these schedules and how they're designing the season so that ideally you should have a season that every athlete realistically could do 100% of, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty obvious, I mean, that the current structure of the season is not that way, right?
Yes.
The number of wrestlers you'll see wrestle every event on their team's calendar is going to be a really small number by the end of the season. So it would certainly behoove wrestling to change and the coaches and the leaders of the sport to change the structure of the season so that you have 100% participation so that the things you're driving to and getting fans excited about, there's a follow through there. So hopefully there is a change. I'm not hopeful.
My suggestion, I'm going to put my suggestion back on the table. We got like an 8-week dual season culminating in a dual national championship in which dual results affect you lose even if you don't have your best guys in. That still affects your standing later in the dual tournament. And then number two, then you have a second portion of an individual season where if you don't wrestle, it's hard to get the proper seating. It would shorten it up a little bit and hopefully make the matches more important.
Yep. That would be cool.
The NCAA will never do that though, because they'll never do two separate titles unless you do technically two different seasons, like indoor and outdoor.
That's what I want to do. Let me live in my fantasy world.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to make something real that's actually possible. Mm-hmm. So another thing that was interesting, and you got to figure there was an injury or something with Richard Figueroa that he wouldn't wrestle. Now, if you're Arizona State and Courtney comes, he makes a finals, he looks good, but he loses to Barnett. Is your situation now clear as mud? Like, I don't know. You're not. I feel like you're not any closer. If Courtney wins that, you're thinking, okay, probably him moving forward. And now, not that a Barnett loss is bad, it's just not definitive.
Correct. And now you don't have any second semester options to put them both in at the same time.
I know an option.
What, open tournament somewhere?
Kevin Dresser's Last Chance Open.
Stop.
Why? That's a great idea. If you ask me.
God. Courtney, you said he looked great. He had the 4-3 result over. I think you said he looked really good. Maybe we can run tape. I'm pretty sure you said he looked really good, and he lost Burnett in the finals. He had the 4-3 win over Blake West for Northern Illinois, which kind of surprised me because I don't think West is quite on that level, or should have been on that level. And then he won by medical forfeit, so we didn't even get to see him versus Cardinale. And obviously the first matches are kind of a little bit easier for him. So we'll see. I'll say he looked all right. He didn't look bad against Barnett in the finals. I knew Barnett's really good on top, right? So if he gets on bottom, he's going to struggle, and that was what happened. Is he got a takedown, but then got reversed relatively quickly in the first period, and he got ridden out for the entirety of the first period. So
I counter takedown, didn't he? Am I misremembering?
It was they gave and I thought it was a little bit controversial, but they gave Courtney like a quick takedown, and then Barnett got a reversal within about 3 seconds. So it was one of those where they kind of said 2, and then Barnett was kind of like in the process of scrambling still. And like, it was one where if you would have only given Barnett the takedown, not the takedown in the reversal, it would have kind of felt like, that's fine. Like,
yeah,
normal.
Yeah. So who knows what Arizona State does, how they work to solve it now. Really strong performance from Michael Kolioko, won a pretty tough 133 bracket.
I agree. That was impressive.
It's kind of something we've been sort of waiting for a little bit with him. He's had some moments, but he really put it together here. He had some other good wins. It wasn't just Cannon he beat.
We beat Bird in the semis in a crazy
Bird.
match.
Yeah, going through Bird and then and Cannon is really impressive. It puts you in a.
But
he almost blew that Bird.
He almost blew a stalling points and a bunch of takedowns in the third period.
Yes. So good performance by him as well. Yaya Thomas took out Kyle Parko in a crazy close match.
I thought Yaya should have been called for stalling.
Okay.
How do you feel?
In the third? Yeah.
Yeah, he was backing. Here's the one problem I have with the out of bounds thing, and this is any mandated stalling. I feel kind of gets the same thing. It was kind of the same issue where if you
sorry.
What happened?
Keep going. Sorry.
If you're on the leg for 5 seconds, it's stalling. But if you're on there for 4 and then you come back to the body and then you go back down for another 4 and then up and then down, it's not stalling. But that's like stalling. Yaya does this thing where he's really good. He goes out of bounds and then does a hard circle back in. And it's like, okay, but you did that like 7 times. Like, I understand you didn't go all the way out, so the ref couldn't call stalling, but like you backed up all the way till you were out of bounds and then circled. Like, just call him for stalling already. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could have seen it. And also, Parko nearly had that takedown on the edge. I don't know if you saw that. I do think he went out of bounds, but it was
out.
Just barely, just so.
Yes, that was a great call by the referee because in the first time I watched it, I thought definitely a takedown. And then if you watch it again, his foot goes out and then comes back in.
Right back
real quick, yes.
Split second. But also I thought that sort of clear. And those stalling scenarios, the problem is they only like to call stalling for like the prescriptive scenarios.
Mandated stalling.
So but those two are about as close as can be. Obviously, they both had one takedown. It was Yaya got his takedown, I think, late in a period and was able to get a ride out. Was the difference in the match?
Yeah, that was the first period, if I remember. Right?
Yeah.
Oh no, I was wrong. Second period, end of the second period.
Yes, indeed. Okay. JD, other Midlands thoughts?
Ryan Crookham, it was good to see him out on the college mat at 133. He did lose in the semis to Cannon 3-1, but I thought he looked really good. I would assume McGonigal is still probably going to be their guy this year postseason, but Crookham, assuming he stays healthy and on a good trajectory, he will be very good in his college career. It's good to see.
Yeah, that is exciting. You always wonder when guys are in high school and they start to have injuries sort of pile up, and especially I think concussions for Ryan. It's like, oh crap. It's like if you're at this point already, but then you've got someone like Austin Gomez who retires, done, and then they can figure it out. So it's good for Crookham. Good to see all those guys find a way to get on the max. His ability is never been in question.
I was impressed by Danny Braunagel. I guess Illinois didn't do great as a team, but they did have Ruth won, and then the bigger Braunagel won also.
Biggie Browns.
Ruth 2 won.
Ruth 2, Ed Ruth 2. But Danny Braunagel was a guy who he kind of had a solid start to his career. If you look back, his freshman year was pretty good. Kind of showed some promise. And then last year, I don't know what his deal was, but he was not very good last year. I remember thinking like, man, I thought that dude was a lot better. And then, this year he's been pretty good. He actually wrestled Keegan kind of good. And he got pinned at the end of something, but he had a win over Peyton Hall, a win over Justin McCoy. He's got a few other pretty good wins this year. And his match with Monday was a good one. It was 6-4. It was really competitive. I guess in chat, you go check it out if you want. But I was impressed with him. I think he's kind of making some steps in the right direction.
Yeah. So that was a good performance there. Illinois, yeah, in general did a nice job. I'm sure they'd like to. Probably thought Lucas Bird would get that win at that bracket, but it was a tough bracket.
I'm not a big fan of white singlets, but Illinois' white ones, they're pretty cool.
Yeah. The team race was actually kind of fun because you had Northwestern, I think they won the last couple weights, but then second, third, and fourth, you got 115, 115, 114 and a half. And Northwestern was right in that mix also.
Going into the finals, they were in like fourth place or something like that, or third place.
Whoa.
Not the top two for sure, but then they got the 3 champs.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, good performance. Coach Storniolo has, continue to do a really nice job there. Okay. Let's salute the soldiers briefly.
Why? There's nothing to talk about there, but let's just salute the soldiers and be done.
Are you crazy? You don't think there's anything to talk about?
Okay, here's what I'll tell you. I looked at the brackets, and especially if you took out Iowa, okay, because it's the one good team here, it would have been a very average open tournament.
Yeah. What? So, bro.
So Spencer that's it. Lee, There's just
no, Ben.
All
Spencer
right,
Lee wrestled an entire bracket. He won. He destroyed Drake Ayala in the finals,
and everyone else.
We wondered if we would even see Spencer wrestle in this tournament, and then we did not think he would wrestle the entire tournament. And to me, I think if there's that is the story. I think it's one of the biggest stories of the entire weekend, Ben.
Really?
The performance, yeah, because I thought we saw a different Spencer Lee in this.
In what sense?
I think certainly from what we saw at Iowa State, and I thought we saw him as the tournament progressed look better and better, culminating in his best performance against the best wrestler he faced in the bracket, Drake Ayala, an NCAA qualifier, who we all think is pretty tough. And I thought his movement looked fantastic. He took him over with ease. I thought it was dominant, and I think it's and he said it afterwards that he's planning to wrestle every match moving forward for the rest of the season, which that is also that is not something we were talking about or thinking was even an option going into this tournament. It's like, okay, we're going to see him very sporadically. Maybe we'll see him for Iowa State, Penn State, and maybe another duel, and then conferences and NCAAs. And now he looks, I think, not fully back. I still think he has like other levels to get to, and he's going to face tougher competition. But I thought it was a pretty impressive step forward for Spencer.
Okay. Just give him the Hodge now.
Yeah, that's what I took away. I mean, we had a lot of questions, Ben, about Spencer after his
really. I don't feel like we said. I feel like okay, you can run in tape. I feel like we all said the same thing. I feel like we said Iowa said they needed Spencer. It was probably a rush to get him there. It was right. He maybe had been pinpointing this date. It was roughly a month earlier, and he was just gassed and not really in shape yet. That was what I thought. I think we all said that thing.
Yeah, for sure. I thought there was a little more of a. I feel like we had more of a caveat about his injury, about him not being fully.
I was a little more hesitant.
Absolutely. This is a little bit of revisionist here, I think.
I don't know. We got the tape. Rewind it. I feel like we said we got the tape. I feel like we said he's really tired. He is coming back earlier. Iowa needed him to win the duel, which they did. And he just wasn't actually ready to perform at the normal level.
Yeah. He looks closer to the level now.
Yes, agreed.
So yeah, I thought it was a good performance. Obviously, there was a lot made of the post-match sort of I don't know, emotions.
A little bit rude
from Spencer. Not the yeah.
You could do that in the room when there's no cameras on you. Like I think I've had it happen a few times when someone was, like you get a little heated because they say something and you rub their face in the mat a little bit extra. But man, all the cameras are on you. You gotta maybe not rub his face in the mat.
Yeah, I kind of just chalk that up to just emotions. Like I think in the moment, things happen. That. Yeah, maybe so. But I thought not ideal, but not the biggest deal in the world.
I thought it got blown out of proportion a little bit because, like Ben says, that happens all the time against teammates.
Well, there was a screenshot that someone sent me that I told you where it was Al's mom. Apparently, I don't know if it is for sure.
Come on,
what?
You could talk about screenshots of Facebook from moms.
Yes, it's relevant.
Give me a break.
No. Oh my gosh. Well, the relevant thing is that, and we've all heard this, and I don't know, I think we've talked about it before, is that Spencer doesn't really wrestle all that much in the room. He wrestles with who he wants to. That's been a thing since Gilman, right?
And, what do you mean? That he wouldn't wrestle Gilman?
That him and Gilman didn't go against each other all that frequently. And that was, I believe, I had Gilman this is when I was doing the Brutus. I did the show with Brutus where I interviewed someone, and I think Gilman was, if I remember correctly, Gilman was complaining that Spencer wouldn't go with him really, really infrequently. So it's been a thing. And so I don't know why you think it's just a nothing burger. It's no, Spencer doesn't wrestle with a lot of different people in the room. He has who he wants to go with and how he wants to do it, and that's the thing.
Apparently it works. Whatever his methods
absolutely.
are. I do know there was a sort of infamous final workout with Gilman and Spencer before I guess it was this has been 2019 or 2020, but I guess they were going and they were drilling together, and then it got a little physical, and it was hey, do you want to go live? And so they went live, and evidently Spencer won pretty handily, and it was basically okay, and I'm never gonna wrestle you again until trials. And then ultimately Gilman moves to Penn State, and Spencer had his, the world shuts down, and Spencer gets injured again, and so we haven't seen those two clash.
Gilman gave his input on the matter on Twitter. He tweeted out the lion emoji.
So Christian, my take on this is, you're right. Spencer's great. He can do whatever the hell he wants to. That's a fact, Jack. But if you're thinking now he's the senior leader of this team, the senior leader of this team should not be doing things like that publicly. They need to keep the senior leader needs to keep the pack in order, right? Which maybe means doing this in the room. If you got a young guy who's out of line, maybe you put his ass in line. That's fine. You don't need to do it publicly. And a senior leader on the team should be having young guys look up to him, respect him, and follow his lead in what he wants to do. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah. I understand that too.
Yeah.
I don't think it was textbook, but I don't think it's a huge deal either. But yeah, I think the bigger story is Spencer's back, looks really good. And it gets me excited, just not only for the conclusion of his college career, but with the freestyle season being right around the corner too. We are 4 months from the U.S. Open, which is going to determine Final X largely.
Oh, yeah.
And if you want to be in Final X, unless you already won a world medal, you're going to need to win the U.S. Open.
Well, so Gilman's already in Final X.
He is in Final X, yes.
Oh, baby.
So, the Open will be
that's not official yet, but
what do you mean? Because he hasn't accepted or what?
They haven't released the procedures yet. UFC Wrestling
what?
The official procedures.
Yeah.
But we can assume that will be the case.
I don't know why what the holdup is to release that. It's January.
Release the tapes. Release the emails.
People should know how they're going to make a world team this year. But I think in general circles, it's sort of I think the wrestlers know. And so with that being the case, the Open's going to be insane this year. It could be maybe one of the best U.S. Opens ever, because 2023 is setting the table for the Olympic year, as we all know. You want to be on the team.
So you guys saying there's not going to be trials? It's going to be Open Final X?
Trials are going to be probably the weakest we've ever seen them. There will only be trials for weights where you don't have a medalist sitting out.
and which is not very many.
And it's not very many.
Two. We didn't get medals at
61.
61.
And
we got 65, 70, 74. No, all of them, right?
There's 61 and 125.
Oh, yeah,
125. Yeah.
One have medalists. And if Jaden moves up to 197.
Wait, so are you guys saying so on? And maybe if you can't just say you can't answer the question, say I can't answer the question. But that would mean then whoever last year the second and final X was determined by the trials winner at that weight class. And I personally felt like it was too jammed up where it went open trials, final X, like back to back real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So are you guys saying whoever say at 57, Gilman is already in final X supposedly. Whoever then wins the open is then the other participant and they can bypass the trials?
Yes.
Oh, that's so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's way better.
It's gonna be awesome. So anyway, a lot ahead of for Spencer Lee right now. I'm curious. Still don't know about Glory, what his plans will be. Him not wrestling at all makes me think he got talked out of the 33 thing. But I don't know.
Yeah, when you look at so D'Agostino hasn't wrestled since Vegas, and you look at Spencer's second half schedule, he's gonna have Barnett and I guess McKee is tough for him, and that's like the only ones that I would see being even slightly competitive.
Yeah, I mean, it's very realistic. He goes 100% bonus this year,
which has never been done in wrestling.
Really?
Not to my knowledge, and that's something I pay a lot of attention to. We've had a handful of people get really close, but I don't think we've ever had anyone get 100% bonus. Obviously, in a real season where not a redshirt year, but like where they're wrestling on varsity, they're going to nationals, they're doing all the things.
Wow,
I don't believe it's ever happened.
Yeah, it'll be tough.
Definitely not in the modern era.
Yeah.
I don't know about like the Danny Hodge days.
Yeah, I mean, look at Liam Cronin at number 8. He's number 8 on your guys' rankings currently. 125. It's thin.
It's a tough. Yeah, it's not in great shape.
Yeah,
but you got Spencer, which makes me curious. Like, what's 25 going to look like
next year?
Yeah, next year.
Or do we all think less of everyone because Spencer's so good?
No, I really don't think it's.
It's like a 57 where we don't think nearly as high. You know, it's just not as deep.
Yeah, I think it really is not. Yeah, I mean, look at. It's not a great barometer, but just like look at the high school accolades of these guys. These were not like they're really good wrestlers, but no. Yeah. And also it's like it's being compared to the 25s of the past where, Spencer's freshman year, he won a bracket with national champion Nathan Tomasello, national champion Darian Cruz, himself, Nick Soriano, who he beat in the final, like crazy weight.
Yeah.
So anywho. But it's good to see Spencer back and healthy. And I don't think I did not expect a lot of the things I saw with him to happen at Soldier Salute. So certainly notable.
Yeah. Are there any, I guess, is there a lot of good redshirts at 25 or maybe senior class guys who would just come in and wrestle right away?
Not to my knowledge.
Jax Forrest, maybe he's going to forego the rest of his high school career and come wrestle.
It would not be, I mean, he
could scrap.
He could be an All-American contender next year. I don't think that's audacious.
Not really.
Based on, how he's done so far. But yeah, who is coming to like shore up one next year?
What about Jezeroga? Someone told me Jezeroga hasn't wrestled at all this year. Is that true?
That is true.
Okay. Maybe him.
Yeah. Well, he will be it is his senior year. Well, Drake Ayala will be back. I mean, that's for Iowa. Drake at 125. He could be pretty interesting at this weight. And is this McKee's senior year?
McKee's got to be done. Spratley actually.
He was looking tough until he got stuck.
Yeah. Well, he got this first takedown on Noah Certain, and then he was like almost got away a whole bunch of times. Was kind of moving good about, and then got turned at the end of the second for 4, and then the beginning of the third, he got thrown to his back and stuck.
I don't think this is McKee's senior year, bro.
Come on, dude. He's got to be done.
No.
Yeah, he's done. Stick a fork in him.
He's not. He's significantly younger than a lot of these guys.
Patrick McKee
he'll have another year after this.
Redshirt year, at 1 year.
He's in his 5th year, but he gets 6.
You're right. Dang, crazy.
Yep. Okay. Anything else Midlands or salute oriented discussions?
Yeah, I mean, so I just looked at the rest of salute, and there's just not a lot of. I mean, one of the most notable things that Anthony Etchemendia wrestled for the first time in forever, and he didn't even make the finals. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know why he's wrestling. I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either. I hope he's doing well. Yeah. There's and one interesting thing about the Soldier Salute is they're obviously they want to build it. So there's only one way really to build an event, and you need to take teams that are in other tournaments and get them to go to yours. So the Soldier Salute, I think, is going to bring about a weakening of the other holiday tournaments, even if they add another team or two, unless they start adding some of the teams that don't participate in any holiday tournaments. So it's going to get, if
we're diluting the waters out here.
Huh?
That's what diluting the waters out here.
Burroughs had that question. You guys put it in the doc, and then
that was from 2017.
That's hilarious. That's from 2017. Well, then
it's even more notable now with 3 holiday tournaments.
I think you had a link to it last night, maybe, and I clicked on it, and
there's a screenshot in there now.
Okay, well, it was like, and Herbert had a response to it, and Herbert's response was essentially kind of what we talked about at the beginning of the show is there is some type of organized season, right, where it's not like everyone is doing whatever they want all the time. Where here's this part and then here's that part type thing,
like a UWW in the ranking system.
Yeah, they're getting there. I mean, I wouldn't hold them up to the example. I'd say something like college football, where they have 11 or 12 weeks or whatever, and you play almost every single one of them, and then you have a bowl game at the end. So that's pretty organized.
Yeah, there's no scenario where these tournaments combine. I mean, that would in 2017 that would basically be the equivalent of making a national tournament in the middle of the season at that point. But even now,
you would have to get one of the tournament organizers and event organizers to just be like, okay, you get all our revenue.
Yeah, it's your tournament now.
But man, Midlands looked empty, guys, and I don't know. I know they hold it out at the I don't remember what the name of the arena was. I've been there once or twice.
Now Arena or something
like that. But man, it used to be when I think about my early days. Or I wrestled Jake Herbert Midlands in 2011, 12. I don't remember when it was. Well, a while ago now. The Midlands was full, right? It wasn't a gigantic gymnasium where you're sitting 7,000 people, but the stands were full. You were probably sitting, I don't know, 1,500 or somewhere around there. Man, the crowd looked so thin. There was barely anyone in attendance. And I had some of my kids, and I didn't fact check this, but I had a few of my kids say, oh, we wanted to go to Midlands, and the prices were outrageous on how much tickets cost. So, I don't know. But so they're not generating a ton of revenue because the stands were relatively empty.
Yeah. No, it was not an amazing turnout there. Unfortunately, but Iowa used to go there. Iowa State used to go. That was like So now this is very, very different. If you don't have those teams with significant followings, it's not going to be well attended.
Yeah,
it doesn't help that no one could travel because of over the last couple of days either because of Ben's favorite airline.
leave it alone. Jeez Louise. Hey Christian, why were you ignoring Chael last night? How rude.
Bro, he's blowing me up on Twitter. I'm not even on Twitter. I'm calling the matches. What? Between you
so rude.
Between you and Chael, the two most great guys, but technologically inept. You can't find nothing.
It's not technologically inept. I've told you my strategy. I would have to, certain times I'd have to really search something. I had some great questions. The Midlands, that sucked. Okay, so here's what happens. Midlands, I'm at practice. Was it Thursday night or something, Christian? I'm at practice. I get home. I'm like, oh, I want to watch all these matches. And then generally you can go on Track or Flow and just click a button and I can watch the match, right? Well, they had a whole session. So then it was like, okay. And then you go to the Big Ten Plus and you click and it says, do you want mat 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? It's like, okay, wait. How do I retroactively know what mat this match was on? And then you ignored me. So rude, right? So then I had to literally click through. I clicked a mat, and then I had to kind of like scroll through about what weight I wanted, right? Because it was like relatively in weight order. So I'd have to click through to see what weight they were at. And I'm like, oh, damn, that mat's not on this match. I guess I got to go to the next mat. Like, it's freaking sucked.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. When did you ask for help here? I don't remember this.
It was it might have been you and JD's tech, like both of you together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, hey, for some reason I get some text from your number and some from your Gmail.
I don't know what happened, but somehow my iMessages got disconnected from my phone. It used to be like connected. So I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry you couldn't find
No, but that was so frustrating to have to. It took me unfortunately more time and effort than I wanted to go back and like figure out where those matches were and like find out what mat they were. And there was no way on Track. You should find out what mat they're on Track Wrestling retroactively. I could not figure out how you could find out what mat they're on, so I had to manually go through each mat and kind of click through and try to watch what matches I wanted to watch.
Yeah. So here's the thing. A lot of your questions are things that I'm going to have to go through the same process you would have to go through if you're trying to figure it out. You're just like shirking the responsibilities.
No, I know, I know, Christian. No, exactly. But here's the answer. I know if you don't know the answer, then probably nobody does.
Okay.
And there's a decent chance, like when I ask you, there's a decent chance that you just know the answer. And it's going to take you 4 seconds. And it's going to take me 7 minutes, right? But then if you say I don't know, then I know, well, if Christian doesn't know, there's probably nobody else that knows the answer. So now I got to freaking go do the work. But if I can just ask someone and get an answer in 4 seconds, it's much better. Way more efficient.
It's fine. It's fine. But for
jail. No. Fuck Arena. Chill. Freaking follow along.
It's like, bro, you could jail. You can set the alerts on. Just go to Arena and put your phone number in there.
Yeah, and actually, you guys should maybe like. You guys, I know right now, Tyler, you should do this on the left side of the screen, and you guys should show people how to set their alerts because it is a handy feature. You can get both the mat assignments and the results if you want. It's really tremendous.
Yes. Yeah, it's great. So I don't know. I'll call him and walk him through that process. But yeah, he was. I get on Twitter and just chill. Is just when he says, well, Christian.
I know that was hilarious. Is the Scuffle not starting at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time?
No, 11.
11, okay.
Yeah.
I actually thought it would start during the show.
No. Starts in an hour, and semis are at 1 Eastern. So don't miss it.
Did Harmon make the semis? I think I turned it out. I watched Mako and Krediger both made the semis.
He lost to D'Anthony Parker Jr. from North Dakota State is tough.
Yeah, D'Anthony Parker is kind of scrappy.
He is scrappy. It was a weird it was a riding time is how he beat him. It was pretty good. Yeah.
Mizzou's gonna beat on ride time because you know what? I lied. I actually watched the Witt Lake Hawks match and freaking I don't know. Did you guys watch that match? Can we talk about it?
No, I was on the other mat.
Yeah, Witt Lake was doing a stall ride, number one. But number two, there was one exchange where Hawks was on bottom and he got up to his feet and got back to he got a whizzer on the mat and then kind of got back to his feet. And I thought for sure they're calling that for for an escape. And then I didn't actually realize the ref didn't call an escape. I had thought he did. And then Witt Lake tried like a honey badger and then they kind of rolled out of bounds. And I thought, oh, well, thank God they went out of bounds because he was going to give them a takedown. But then they never called escape, and the Hawks went back on bottom. And I'm like, what in the? And they gave up ride time and got ridden out and lost.
Man, the craziest. Did either of you guys watch Jackson Smith versus Luke Serber?
Yes.
No.
Oh my gosh.
John Smith was not happy.
No. The entire Oklahoma State staff lost their collective mind officiating and
which part? Was it third period? Can I go click on it right now and watch?
You could, yeah, you can.
Which period?
The best clip
right at the end.
You should look at our Instagram post.
You guys, I did watch our Instagram. I saw what you guys posted there.
Scramble of the day. Okay, so you got to watch. So if you pull that up, it's a perfect view of it. They call a quick. I thought Jackson Smith. They gave Jackson Smith a takedown that I don't think was a takedown, and then they call a reversal for Serber at the time, which was not a reversal. So you have two calls that were bad. And so, but there was only one
bad calls makes good call, right?
In this scenario, no, because it was one of those here, can we send this to Tyler?
All right, I'm gonna click on it. Let's see.
All right, young T-Bone, hold please. I'm gonna send you this. It's a very good clip. The scramble's amazing.
All right, I'm watching it. I'll give you my feedback. All right, I watched this. I don't remember on Instagram. Sometimes I was watching to see what happens, not like as far as scoring them or anything.
Watch the ref awarding points there.
Oh, they are tossing and turning. One danger one. Oh, I don't know. I might have called it. Oh, I might have called a takedown for Jackson Smith. On
for what? What for what?
He held him on his back for like 4 seconds.
No, he didn't. Otherwise,
yes, he did.
4.
But then I would have definitely called a reversal for Luke Serber. And hell yeah. Okay, watch this. Let's see. So the second 1, 2, 3. It's damn near 4 seconds, Christian. Yep. Let's see. So they roll through right there. This is nice. Catch him. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, that's a freaking takedown, guys. That's
okay.
Sorry, Luke.
I'm not mad about that.
Lay on your freaking back.
Except they took away the reversal.
But you gave him a reversal too.
So, but watch the issue is when the reversal was called, it was not 2. But
wait, why not?
Watch what happens.
Okay, hold on. When is it called? Let me see. Hold on, because
it's called immediately. Way too fast. Way too fast.
I don't really hate it. Okay. Here's why I don't hate it. It was probably called like 1 second too fast. I don't hate it because we need a bigger screen. This is a bad view for you guys. The real match one is a significantly better view. Yeah. I hate it because when the bottom guy has a leg, the other guy's leg between his legs, right? So the other guy, the top guy is holding on to a leg that's between his legs. It's not control. It's not, the guy is all the way freaking behind you. I wish refs would call takedowns here way more often. Takedowns and or reversals.
With that leg between the middle?
Yeah, dude, you ain't doing nothing with that. Get lost. That ain't control. If they're behind you, if they're all okay. So think about this. In regular wrestling, not some of these scandals. In regular wrestling, all you have to do is get behind the armpits. So think about getting out of bounds here. What was the one? Jay Nabas versus Yanni, maybe it was, where he was like almost 90 degrees, but he was behind the arms. Remember this? Yeah. And people were debating whether or not that was a takedown. Okay, that's only behind the arms. In these scenarios, you're all the way behind the arms and all the way behind the hips. You're all the way behind everything. But because the guy's gripping your leg from the middle, and so then you think about that in the other way. It's like, okay, well, if I was on bottom and I started reaching between my leg and grabbed your leg, do you think I have anything? Am I close to maneuvering myself into a position where I have control? And the answer to that is no, you're not. You're a freaking idiot. Let go of the leg. Right? Yeah. But because they're not calling a takedown, you have a situation where they can kind of grip it and hold it, and it makes it tough for the top guy to maneuver into an even better position, right? They can kind of hold them there. Yeah. But they can't really do anything else. Hold on, let me get. I freaking, because this situation pisses me off, Christian, and I know this scramble better than almost everybody. If the bottom guy can pick the leg up and get some height, right? So if they can actually get off of their belly, if they're not on their belly, if they can actually get some height on it, now they can start doing something. They can start putting the other guy in a position where they're going to have to, bail out or dump over. But if they are flat on their belly, like this situation, if you are flat on your belly, you are almost certainly should be called a takedown against you. For sure.
Okay. Do you mean reversal though?
Because in this situation, it's reversal. Yes.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of situations where it should be a takedown, right? Where they get it, mostly they get in the scramble out of neutral, not out of a top bottom position. So I don't want to say it's exclusively a neutral scramble, but lots of times it is. So yes, that should be called the takedown. The guy holding it, you're behind all of their things. You're behind their arms, their legs. You're behind all of it. Freaking give them the takedown, and then we'd have the bottom guy stop hanging on. And it wouldn't be this stupid stalemate position.
Now, but here's the issue, Ben. You're talking through this is your preference.
Not my preference. This is my deep intuitive knowledge of these scrambles that I've been in hundreds of times.
Okay. Call it what it is. It is not how it is officiated.
It's how it should be officiated. If these guys more deeply understand.
Ben, the debate is not how it should be. It's like, what is the rule? Okay, and the rule is
what is the rule?
Put there, they make them clear that leg before they're gonna give a reversal.
But Christian, is that actually the rule, or is that just the referee's poor interpretation of what a takedown is? I was
standing right next to the ref when he said it, and he's like, I gave it too early. He's got to clear that leg. That was the
I don't think that's actually in the rule book. We can find it. I don't think it's actually in there. I don't think that scramble is defined in the rule book. I think that's the referee's their interpretation, which is a significantly listen, I'm being a little bit arrogant here, and whatever. You guys can all bite me. Everyone listening too, not just you two. I like you two. You don't have to kiss my butt, but everyone else can kiss my butt. I understand the scramble better than 99.999% of freaking people listening to this podcast. And I am telling you, if the bottom guy only is holding onto a leg and is on his belly, that should be a takedown.
And the issue is,
and the referees should start calling it that, but they just need to listen to me. They need to listen to this podcast. They need to listen to me. They need to call a takedown, and it would absolve a whole bunch of their issues that they have, because it's a freaking takedown.
Well, the actual issue here was that if he had just waited a half a second,
it would have been,
it's clear, but it's when it's awarded, and it was awarded early, so that completely threw out the reversal. And to which, the Oklahoma State, I think rightly, were upset with how the sequence was officiated. They didn't challenge the takedown, which surprised me, because I think that could have got the whole sequence kind of thrown out, and it would have been 1-1. It was 1-1 at the time of the scramble, and this is the closing moments of the third period.
Yeah. I thought it was a takedown for Jackson Smith.
Okay, so really, it should have been either way. It should have been all square, but ultimately the reversal's waived, and Luke Serber loses. Jackson Smith rolls onto the semis.
Wait, so let me ask you a question. So the review rule is that because it was called 1 second early, that it gets waived?
Yes.
Because it changes because it changes the athlete's actions, I guess, would be the argument.
Of course, yeah. I mean, we've talked about that multiple times.
That's fine. I'm okay with that. I don't really love it, but I am okay with it. I mean, there's no, like, with your injury default thing, it should be like, oh man, that was gonna happen anyways. You should just know that was what was gonna happen, and just call it as if that was gonna happen.
Yeah. It was so that was an unfortunate conclusion to a great sequence. Awesome wrestling. But
with that, if you give the reversal, the score's 3-3 and it's tied.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Going to likely to overtime. There may have been like 10 seconds left, so Jackson could have escaped, but probably going to sudden victory, which based on the two skills, I thought that would have been. I thought Serber looked good. It was a pretty tough quarterfinal match for Jackson, but ultimately Smith moves on. But yeah, that was a crazy match. Okay. What else is going on at the Scuffle? I'm pulling up the brackets here. I'm literally here. So I decided not to go to the arena for the show because it's very loud and play a lot of music. So
maybe some harmonica. You never know when it's going to get busted out.
You're going to get some harmonica for sure. So we got Ramos versus Poulin for semis at topside 25 certain, and Mastro bottom. Mastro had a tight one against Nico Provo. It was really close.
Ramos, the Cooper Flynn match was close until he got the pin.
I know. You get that
overtime.
He loves that
over.
Step over.
Mm-hmm. I know one. 49. Oh my God, why am I blanking on the name? Jade Nabas got upset first round.
Yeah, Joffrey.
He's solid. Joffrey's solid.
Yeah, he's in the semis against Voinovich, and then you've got March versus Quinn Kinner. Man, freaking Jordan Williams and Kellen March. You should watch this match, Ben. It is an incredible match.
That was in the wrestlebacks, right? Because Jordan Williams beat Ethan Miller on the front side, and then
which was a great match.
Oh, that was the front side. Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah. that was a great match too against Miller. Decided on a locked hands point. It was sort of a really tough first round match for both guys. I thought that they could have spread them out a little bit, but maybe they don't have the criteria. But yeah, Williams is right there. He's going to be a tough. I think 49 is a good weight for him, and obviously, he's probably going to redshirt this year with Voinovich doing what he's doing.
So did they give up making G Feller go down?
I don't know. I don't know if G did himself any favors losing to Charlie Derrickott in a match where he had one opportunity to score and he almost did, but then he couldn't get out in tiebreakers against Derrickott. Derrickott rode him out in tiebreakers and he lost. So who knows?
Actually, if you guys Flow Arena, I don't know if you see this, it has it backwards. It says 3-2 G Feller, but it has Derrickott as the winner.
That's the table workers. I don't know what happened there. That's weird.
Okay.
But yeah, Derrickott won by 1, confusingly. So what else is going on? Griffith was actually kind of in a tough match against McLean of Oklahoma State. He was down 3-2 in the third.
What? I missed that.
Yeah, and then he got a ankle pick in the third, and then transitioned to a Turk and ultimately won 7-3. But it's kind of close.
Not that good. He lost to Mizzou backup.
Yeah. I don't know if Shane was just kind of getting his motor running, but he was fine after that. He's going to have Carlson in the semis. Carlson knocked off Sheets, so there's maybe growing momentum to cut both Sheets down.
But the problem is Oklahoma State doesn't have who's their other 65?
McLean,
Jalen Harper. I mean, those aren't good options, guys.
No. And then that's going to bench Voinovich.
Yeah, and Voinovich is doing well.
Put him on the Voina bench. That's not good.
Yeah,
he's a good wrestler. 74 Plot Kratiger, Bailey O'Reilly versus Peyton Mako. Think we'll probably see a Plot Mako final there, but who knows?
Kratiger Mako, let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. You never know. DeAnthony Parker Jr. I mean, just in general, North Dakota State's impressive to me. Caliendo, Parker, Droga Mueller lost a really tough quarterfinal match, but they just
put 4 in the semis.
Yeah, they were impressive. They stick out as a kind of a unit for this tournament. I'm excited for 97. Stephen Little for Little Rock is.
I'm kind of surprised about him.
He's good.
He had a
sick takedown.
I just remember, I believe Cole Mirasola beat. This is my lens, guys. I pretty much just watch most of AWA guys in high school, but I want to say Cole Mirasola beat him twice at Fargo this summer, and so I was like, I know Cole's good, but he's only a junior in high school, so I wasn't super impressed by Stephen Little. So when he's doing this well in college, I was very surprised with it.
Yeah, he's doing a great job for them. Still young. So that was impressive. But Laird moves on. He's got Pence from North Dakota State, Jackson Smith, Lou Dupre, the bottom one. That's gonna be a really fun semi as well. And then for the big boys, this Corey Day, he's pretty nasty on top. He threw in a double leg power half and pinned Peter Ming in the first period. It was nice. I hadn't really watched him much before, but Elam looks like he's probably gonna roll through this weight. Dayton looked good. A lot of riding time against Reading. And then Braden Palmer, one of the bigger stories at 33, knocking off Adasayev.
41, I think, is still the semis I'm looking forward to the most between Berkland and Hart.
Yes.
And Miller.
Yeah, Miller's the one who knocked off Droga Mueller in a pretty that match. Every time I looked up, one of the sides was challenging something. It just constantly challenged, and there were a bunch of things overturned.
I actually didn't see very many challenges yesterday. I feel like I watched a lot of matches, and I don't feel like I saw a high percentage of challenges.
Yeah, not a ton, which is good. I mean, the officiating has been quality. That Jackson Smith sequence was the one that was, regrettable. But beyond that, it was good. Do you want to get to some questions?
Taylor Matthews had a question about Scuffle, and I didn't notice this. Maybe you did, Christian, about inconsistent stall calls at Scuffle.
I didn't notice that either.
I saw some in the Smith Serber match. There was a terrible edge stall call on. There was such a bad stall call on Jackson Smith that the Oklahoma State staff was like, "This is so stupid," because then they immediately had a makeup call for the other side. It was just like like Jackson literally shot him out of bounds and they hit him for a push stall.
So not to go back to the Yaya Parko match, but the one takedown we talked about where Parko almost stayed in bounds, Yaya freaking sent it to get out of bounds on that one. And that's and we've talked about this before, but that is probably since there is no fleeing the mat, that call does not exist anymore. That would be the most blatant type of stalling, and lots of times refs do not call that one when it's the worst one.
They called it on Derricott against G Feller.
Okay.
G was on a single and Derricott just dove out of bounds and they hit him for stalling and it was a point. So there's still hope for them to call it some.
Hey, did I tell you about my other new rule that I want to make? Did I tell you guys about this? I told my brother. I got a great rule. Want to hear it? They still need to institute insta-death. It's not quite as good of a rule as insta-death. That would be the ultimate rule, but it is pretty good. Okay. So, there's certain situations in folk style wrestling where the bottom guy legitimately can't really move. Say like I got a double bar or a bar in a wrist or double legs in, like these type of situations. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And you don't necessarily want to, you feel bad about punishing the top man by giving the bottom man a restart because the top guy did in fact earn that position. But then at the same time, sometimes it goes on forever, and you're like, well, I don't really feel like the top man is trying to use this, but they did earn this position, and so like a stalemate would be totally punishing the top man and benefiting the bottom man. So if you did a stalemate and a stalling at the same time, then you would be punishing the bottom man a little bit, rewarding the top man for what he got, and not making us endure the boringness of that situation. How do you feel about that?
So call stalling on the top man, but not
no, stalling on bottom. You're punishing for his inability to get out of that position.
Okay, so that'll make him move a little more, and then maybe he can get a
or
turn.
Try. But if he legitimately can't, then you're punishing him for not being able to.
Okay. I don't hate it. What do you think?
Where lots of times what you generally see is you see the position could be. So here's the options currently, right? The position is extended for too long and they just sit there and everyone's like, this is boring. Like, they shouldn't be sitting for long. Number two, a lot of times it's stalling on the top man, okay, which is not ideal. Sometimes the bottom man gets called for stalling and he's got to stay there, right? But he actually can't really move. You got right? You know what I'm talking about, JD, where there's some position where it's really tough for the bottom guy to move. So he gets called for stalling and he still can't move, right? That's not ideal either. So you're getting like, I think you kind of take away all the issues out of that position.
Okay.
I like it.
I'm not mad at that. Not mad at that at all.
Sweet. I might go to the referees convention next year.
You should. Where is that convention?
I don't know.
Well, they go to the NWCA coaches convention. There's a big rules meeting there, but I don't think all the refs go. That would be. Can you imagine if they had a convention with the coaches and the refs?
That would be fun. They honestly, they probably should because it would humanize each other to each other. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like it would there's maybe an antagonistic relationship between the coaches and the referees. And I'll tell you, with the P&L, right? One of the things someone got fined for yelling at the referees. That's our thing. The coaches can't yell at referees.
Yeah.
So we have it literally in the bylaws where a coach gets fined for getting on the referees too much. But then it was perfect. Afterwards, we were all in the hotel having kind of a meeting about certain things upcoming, and the referees were there. And it was like, so we sat them down, not all of them, right? It was like, I think it was 3 of them. And we asked them like, what about this? What about that? And we like went through different scenarios. It was like, hey, we should be working together to make a better product rather than working against each other. And so I think, that's something that we need to do. And obviously referees can't be abdicated from making bad calls. And if they're not doing a good job, they should be punishment for that. But it should be referees and coaches working together to make a better product versus seeing seeing as a enemy type relationship.
Yeah, it's contentious. It's like,
it should be contentious because if you think about it, Christian, maybe in certain cases, maybe this is true, but referees should just be trying to call what they see, and I think in most cases that's true. They're just calling what they see.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah.
They're just trying to enforce the rules of the game and do it the best they can.
I would have a hard time getting talked to like that.
What do you mean?
It would,
I understand.
They just take it. Like some of the things they say, it's like, all right, is this happening? Like, are we like I mean, how do you not stick up for yourself a little more there? Say like, man, you're not talking to me like that, bro. Like on like the person level, like, man, maybe you're a big wrestling coach, you could beat me up, but I'm gonna stick up for myself. But they just let it go. Let it roll off. I'm like, all right, man.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But yeah, I think that would be good to have all the coaches and referees together, because then maybe they would realize, hey, this is another human being, and maybe I shouldn't be talking to them that way. I know that's something. I mean, I guess I'm not an old coach, but I know like earlier when as I was younger, I was kind of more of an a-hole, and I don't even think like if we have the spectrum of total a-hole to like the nicest, I don't think I was like. There's some people who are like, oh, they're real bad. I was just like, a little bit this way. And I'm like, I'm not freaking going to do that anymore. Like, I'm not going to lose my shit barely ever.
Yeah. I had to learn a lot of hard lessons coaching in high school. Now I'm like, all right. Sort of changed my philosophy on it. Okay. More questions. Why didn't I answer Chael Sonnen? Yeah. Well, I was literally calling the Southern Scuffle quarters when he went crazy on Twitter. What teams have performed most above and below expectations this year? Good question.
All right, let me go to team rankings.
I feel like, it's like
Iowa State's balling out.
Iowa State, yeah, that's the most
big
above
time
for sure.
Big time bump up. Nebraska for sure.
Definitely. I don't feel like but we watched their first duel and we were like, wow, we thought they were going to be better than this.
Yeah, but then I was
NDSU.
But and you're talking about NDSU being good, so maybe we really underestimated NDSU.
That's partially it, but man, them winning Vegas is like what? That was just not something I thought was a possibility. They're in the trophy position right now.
You guys have them at 4th right now, which I feel like is I don't want to say I feel like that's too high. I feel like they're gonna finish below. If I was gambling right now, I would say I would bet on them finishing below where they're at.
I completely agree. I mean, I had my bet. JD and I kind of had a little back and forth on the show, like, because he was like, "Dude, pull Ridge, you can trophy." I said, "No." I think we even had a little
so bet. High right now. I guess they got Labs. Labs is super high.
They got one Rob's at 157. He's number 1.
And then Labs is 2.
Now Hardy's high.
And Hardy's high right now. Yes.
He's 5.
Crazy way.
Cronin is in an All-American position.
Pinto's not, is it? Let's see. Where's Pinto at? No.
But that's the thing about this team race. A 1 and a 2 and an 8 and a 5 goes a long way for this team race. I still am not necessarily thinking that I'm going to be wrong about the Nebraska thing, but certainly a lot has happened since we had that conversation with JD where I'm like, well, maybe not. Because I said you can add Ridge Lovett's like second place points on top of whatever Nebraska gets at NCAAs, and it won't be enough for a trophy.
Yeah, I don't know. Three really high finishers may actually get it done.
But they have to. But Peyton Robb has to win.
Yes,
right. Like that's he could win.
And Ridge has to make it back to the finals.
Yeah, Ridge would have to do that again.
Yeah. And then where there's so if we were literally just looking at just the rankings right now and you're gambling over under on where their finish is, someone like in Arizona State at 11 or Virginia Tech at 9, like I'll bet a decent amount of money on a higher finish than that.
Yeah, I would agree with that too. Arizona State has been you had a preseason number 1 that is now ranked what
7, 8 somewhere in there.
Yeah, somewhere. Schultz is 6th right now.
Yeah.
what really hurts Arizona State is no Ja'Cory Teamer, who could absolutely win this way.
Bad, yeah.
That's a big hurt. 25, you came in and you had like the number 2 or 3 ranked guy, and or probably 3, and now he's 6th. And previously he was back. They were earning even fewer points from Figueroa, so that's not been ideal. So I do think Arizona State could come, but there's not a lot of help coming from like other weights like Kyle Valencia or even
Parco's good though. I mean, Parco could All-American. You guys have him at 6.
Well, he needs. He needs
to.
to.
He needs to. Norfleet at 97 hasn't been great either. What do you guys got him at? You guys him at 12. So
yeah, all right.
Yeah, they got some possibilities, but yeah, Teamer being out. The team that is below, I know this is an easy one for me when I'm on the team rankings. The team that has performed below expectations to me is Ohio State.
Yep.
Big time.
Yep. They lost to UNI and nearly lost to Virginia Tech. They had Cliff Keen. That's definitely been a disappointing season so far for them.
They could definitely turn it around. That's not out of the question.
Yeah, I honestly, Pitt being in the top 10 is not something I saw.
That's right. Yeah,
happening either. So those are probably the standout teams for me. I think this trophy race is fascinating. I mean, NC State's ranked 15th. That's
kind of. Why are they so low?
They have a lot
have a bunch of middle.
Because that flawed team scoring system, right, Christian?
Well, I disagree. I do think round of 12.
What about Camacho? Is Camacho not coming back?
He tore his ACL.
Yeah. Sounds like he could, and he's cleared, but they feel like he could probably get a medical too.
Okay.
So I don't know. It sounds like it's not yet determined. But my guess
TBD.
TDB. So we'll see.
Okay.
But yeah, they've got a lot of good wrestlers. Just they're not ranked really high right now, apart from Hidley, who's 3rd.
And Trumbull's at 9, so that it's just outside that.
9. Ed Scott's at 11.
That's the state of 197.
Man, Ed Scott though, I could see. I mean, Ed, you guys won't count as Will Lawan wins.
Yeah, that does.
I could see Ed Scott obviously finishing, say, top 5.
Yep.
He seems to have too many deficiencies to actually like go win the thing. But he'll lose a match somewhere in there, but I could see him coming back strong and actually probably scoring a lot of points because he
lost, here and there. Lost to Humphreys, lost to
Corbin Munson.
That's this year.
Dragging him down this year.
Yeah, that hurts your ranking.
And then you don't get credit for your best win.
Right. Yep. But he looked, I mean, I look at his Peyton Robb match, the CKLV one, and you're like, man, for that match was as nip and tuck as a bout can be. So he's certainly right there, but a lot of people are right there with him. So it can go a lot of different ways. Like for prime example, he was the 4 seed last year, I'm pretty sure, and he didn't place. It's going to be like that. So NC State can do it though. Virginia Tech for sure. A lot of good teams. It's going to be a fun, fascinating trophy race. Because Nebraska could wrestle decent and not be top 8, top 10. Like.
Well, that's the thing. Not to pick on the team scoring, because I don't want to have the argument with you, Christian. But Nebraska as a team, they wrestle like dog crap. Like all their guys do terrible. But if they have Peyton Robb and Mike Labriola wrestle really well, they're going to be in like 7th place or something.
Maybe.
Yeah, because if Rob gets, say, 22, 25, what we just did this, didn't we do the other day? Like, what was it to take 10th place was like 45 on average or something like that? No.
Yeah.
The trophy was in the 60s, like 4th place?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if they had Labriola and Rob could score 40 to 45 points between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
That will put them in the top 10.
Yep, if they do that. Okay, other questions. Would Ben get private lessons for disc golf?
I don't think I'm good enough.
He's not good enough. You could try. I think you could if you took someone that was brand new. I think you could.
Yeah, okay, that's right. I could teach someone who's brand new.
Ben doesn't think he can give any sort of instruction unless he's like made an Olympic team in that craft. I don't know.
I would feel like imposter syndrome.
Yeah, perhaps. Avery Lynch wants to know what our New Year's resolutions are. I don't think I've ever really done them. I just kind of like if there's something I want to do, I'll probably just do it at that time. I won't wait for the new year. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
JD,
agree.
what are your New Year's resolutions?
Beat Avery in a match.
Beat Avery in a match. That's a good resolution. Also, you're gonna get married this year, JD.
It is true.
That's gonna be fire.
It's not really a resolution, but yeah.
The goal, I guess, yeah, that's a goal. to maintain a healthy, loving relationship and from now till forevermore. That's good. How involved? I imagine heavily. You're heavily involved in the wedding planning.
Of course, everything goes through me.
Okay. Let's see. Any other questions before we go? It is 10:40 here in Tennessee. Why not shorten the wrestling season? When coaches are saying it's too long, shouldn't someone listen? Yeah, I think so. But getting these coaches to agree on much of anything with enough consensus to get something done is the tough part.
Yeah, I would agree. So, I mean, kind of just what I said about the referees and coaches, and if like humanizing them to each other and making them get along. One of the things I see, because I am outside of the college coaching world, it is kind of like it's kind of weird because I think I'm more in the business sense where like everyone should try to get along and make the best thing possible. How much these dudes fight and hate each other and puff their chests out and try to prove I'm right, you're wrong. And I think, it obviously stems from being against each other in the corners. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. They have a hard time. Well, and part of the problem is it's like in what actual sport does it require all the coaches agreeing on something for a change to happen? Like that shouldn't be the barrier to get stuff done in the sport. I think it's probably the reason the sport is where it is that every decision, freestyle, collegiately, high school, it goes through coaches.
Yeah.
Which that doesn't actually make sense to me. That's I think they should have a stake and a voice, but the fact that we're relying on coach consensus to move the sport in any direction makes it tough to me. Makes it tough to bring about change because there's so many outside factors and agendas built into that. And the fact that you may not be, just because you're a great wrestling coach doesn't mean you're equipped to make the best decisions to move a sport forward either. Like those two are not connected really.
Agreed.
In my opinion. That's why Bill Belichick doesn't make any decisions for the NFL. They leave that to like business people. And let Bill coach and be a great coach. So hey, sorry I didn't look at the chat much. Anything going on there, JD?
Somebody asked a question about should the NCAA require teams to compete in certain events?
No.
You're also just going to get like, if a guy's not healthy, a backup will come in like we have now.
Yeah, I mean, should there be a match minimum to enter a conference tournament? Maybe so. Maybe you should have to have wrestled, what would the number be? 12, 15 matches to get into conferences? That might be
weird then, because then obviously, right, if someone is legitimately hurt, then you have that, I don't know.
That's just an opportunity for the Last Chance Open to grow. Get a 3-day.
It really is,
3-day round robin. You get 4 matches a day.
How many handshake agreements would there be of, hey, my guy's going to go out there and take an injury default just to get a match?
And they cannot count injury defaults. They've got to get rid of that. That should never count. I think they did eliminate the.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
That was crazy. Okay. Anything else? Oh, Rick Wassmer said, I know you have a lot going on. Could a head coaching position lure you in?
Who?
You.
Didn't
JD.
we talk about this? No, I don't think I would ever go back to coaching.
Never go back.
College coaching conference.
Here's a caveat. I bet you consider this one. Kale says, "Hey, I got another position. You can come in, help me run the room along with the other guys, and then you would get to see how they do things for, you wouldn't do it then."
No. Hell no. The only even consideration, and it's already been in consideration, and I've already decided against it, is Wisconsin or Mizzou, right? Wisconsin, I don't actually have to move, and I already have all the good kids here that want to be on my team. It would be so easy.
I don't think you'd be able to get them.
Ha! And then Mizzou, because I love Missouri, and that's already, it just I decided against that already, and obviously, I'm here where I'm at, and
turns out Ben enjoys life.
I enjoy life, and I have a really hard time with the idea of someone being my boss again. Like an AD, and they tell you what to do. I don't know. I don't think I could deal with it.
I wonder how much of that really happens. Do you think they're like?
It's got to be at least some, especially when you say as many stupid things as I say. I'm sure there'd be at least like a handful of times a year where.
Oh yeah.
Like, what'd you say on Twitter? We're gonna yell at you now.
Yeah. I understand that. Okay, well that's fine. Good question from Rick Wassmer.
Did you see Tom Ryan was tweeting about a college wrestling playoff coming soon? Maybe he can make some things happen.
That would be awesome. Let's see what he said. College wrestling playoff going to be crazy. Coming someday.
Oh, coming someday.
Or Sunday, but definitely someday. I hope so. It would be amazing. A dual bracket. Let's go. That would be so fun. And on that note,
that is my New Year's wish.
Yes. We don't have New Year's resolutions. We just make wishes.
That's right.
Absolutely.
No action. We take no action. We just make wishes.
Exactly. All right. Well, we're going to go. Thank you guys so much for listening. Happy New Year. I don't know if
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. We're here in here in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I like Chattanooga. Great place. And excited for day 2 of the Scuffle. Semis at 1 Eastern, finals at 7 Eastern. So yeah, thanks so much for listening. We will see you on Wednesday when we're back on the show, the day of the Arizona State Cornell duel. Thank you guys so much. See ya.